This is the golden age of electric guitar playing. Get guys buying guitars still made like it's 1959, they can't stand it. So we're gonna look at their argument, destroy them. Then why is this the biggest boom of expression of guitar playing since Van Halen? Let's go. Modern electric guitar is gimmicky and unmusical. All they do is try to come up with the weirdest sound possible, and they try to make the guitar sound like a toy. That is so funny, because that's exactly what they said about Jimi Hendrix. They called him a vulgar gimmick. He was using overly saturated fuzz, a lot of feedbacks and weird effects. People didn't like it. Why is this so loud? Does it have to be this loud? He was also actually the first guy to play the electric guitar like an electric, not like an acoustic. Now in 2025, I don't actually have to convince you that Hendrix played with emotions and musicality. Without Hendrix, there's no John Mayer. Style over substance. They're just showing off. There's no emotional nuances or depth, right? In 2025, Rick Beato can't shut up about Eddie Van Halen. But when these guys released Eruption for the first time, people weren't ready. There's no songwriting nuance, they said. Sounds familiar? Soulless shredders. Around 2002, the guitar techniques for lit up with the thread Sach or Vi, yay or nay. People would say they're just shredding. It's not even music. Now, no one that's ever heard a full Satriani song would ever call him a shredder. Without these two guys, there is no instrumental guitar scene. I mean, how many of you guys still have their G3 DVDs? I still have mine. I must have watched live in Denver 100 times. Now, there is some shredding happening there, but there's also some amazing stuff. When the guys play Little Wing, it's beautiful. And Sach once said, a Tele and a Tweed amp will always sound great, but eventually you gotta evolve and come up with new sounds. I remember watching a Red Shawl video where they cranked a Tweed amp, right? And the guys were in awe, saying, this is the sound, right? And they were looking at each other, yeah, this is the sound. And I was floored. I mean, what sound? That was the fartiest tone I had ever heard. I got no use for a sound like this. Now I love these guys' channel, right? Rick Beato, Tim Pierce, Red Shawl, That Pedal Show. I mean, I love to watch Tim and Rick crank an old vintage amp and pretend like it doesn't sound fizzy and unpleasant. But they play old shit, and that only covers a small portion of the music that I like. And to be fair, Rick is pretty involved in the modern guitar scene. But I think the problem is, as a guitar player, we don't seem to like progress, do we? I mean, the two most popular guitars we have still have atrocious neck joints. Like nothing else has ever been invented. Are we kidding? But whether we like it or not, guitar music is changing. When Polyphia dropped Goat on us, I thought, I haven't heard something this fresh since Night of Sidonia by Muse. More than that, I felt like guitar playing had moved a huge step forward. In the 80s, tapping and sweeping became popular. But then the 90s, nothing really happened. The early 2000s, we got Acoustic Bros. They're starting doing some tappity stuff on the acoustic guitar. It sounded cool for a while, it raised a few eyebrows, but it got boring quickly. Mostly because it revolved around the same chord progression a lot because of open strings, so it got boring. But we've been so spoiled these past few years. Ichika Nito released I Miss You. This is one of my favorite riffs of all time. It's so groovy. Spyro shocked us all lately with his insane picking speed and accuracy, right? Does it sound like Little Wing? No, it doesn't. But who knows what kids are gonna create with this in a few years. Now, sometimes it is showing off. When Tosin released Thump, that was the craziest flex I had ever seen. But then kids started covering this, and the technique boomed so hard, it became a staple of modern guitar playing. How is this different than Eruption? This is such a great time for the lone bedroom guitar players. Solo guitar has never been so interesting. I mean, jazz and classical solo guitar style, they're fantastic, right? I love Joe Pass, but not all of us do. When I was learning, most of us would just play leads by ourselves in our bedroom, you know, no backing tracks, no music, nothing. I mean, that's wrong in so many ways. And now kids play both rhythm and lead, inspired by Tosin, Tim, Ichika, even guys with more a traditional style but with a modern twist like Seiji Iguza and Mateus Sato. Because of this, they're in such a better place than I was at that age. That kid Devin Glover got so much hate lately. It seems like it exploded the I hate modern guitar movement. But I think and I hope that this opened people's eyes to how much of what you're seeing online is pre-recorded, highly edited, even the simple stuff, right? By the way, do give some credit to Buried Alive. He's been playing that kind of stuff for years now, and it seems like nobody's talking about him. They're just talking about Davin Glover. But the real question here is, why are you angry when you see these modern guitar players? Do you know it? I have an idea, but do you know? That's what truly matters. Every day I watch kids play Crazy Lick I can't replicate. And I don't even want to know how young Tim was when he wrote that Liftoff solo, because I've never written or played anything that genius. Jared Dines made a video about millennials versus Gen Z, and that kid played a Polyphia type song that was so beautiful. I mean, who is that kid? Do you know that kid? If you know about his channel or socials, drop it below in the comments because I want to hear more of this. Feeling bad about being outclassed by the new generation is pointless. I come from a family of musicians, and at 17 I was so much faster and flashier than my uncles and my dad were, because they grew up wanting to be John Lennon, and I was into Yngwie and Children of Bodom, so that was what I was trying to reach. Now I watch Polyphia and I wouldn't even know where to start. But these kids, they're listening to this in their prime years, so how could this not be the biggest boom in guitar playing ever? And then there's the way we consume music now. That has a huge impact. A few decades ago, if you didn't have a hit song, nobody heard about you, right? But now kids can go viral in a day if they write something worthwhile. Now this is why guitar playing is evolving so much. A guy could practice sweep picking in his mom's basement, then post it and create a whole new wave of new guitar players. Not through Sony Music or Rolling Stone magazine, just with his iPhone. You know, the next day kids are already slowing down the video on YouTube and tapping it out so everybody else can learn it now. This is the era that we're in. Once upon a time, Van Halen played flashy licks on electric guitar, and 40 years later, Mike Dawes is using the same technique to play some of the most beautiful acoustic music I've ever heard. We're in a good place. Now I'm gonna do something extremely dumb and bad for business. I'm gonna send you over to other people's channel because they deserve it. Allow me to share with you these amazing modern guitar songs because they're gonna change your mind. Animals as Leader, Red Miso. Because you think you know what crescendo means? You don't. Polyphia, Saucy, is a groovy. Ichika Nito, I miss you. I miss you too, man. We should hang out. David Maxim Michich, I am so sorry, man. Off Bliss sounds a lot like a Nick Johnston track, but I still love it. Javier Reyes, Mercedes Sedosa, because why should Tosin have all the fun? Buried Alive, I hate guitar, because so do I. I mean, why don't they ever stay in tune? Unprocessed, Orange Grove, I wish I had written the opening riff. The links to these songs are in the description. Guys, I appreciate you watching the whole thing. Cheers.